What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Jaja the Goat. We back with another video, man. We got a cool little anime video today, man. This I hate when y'all see that. We got a new era of anime by Kumo Bear. Shout out to Kumo Bear. We're gonna check it out. Let's see, man, because you know we got JJK, we got Hell's Paradise, we got the Vigilante and My Hero shit. Some other random. I just met my 12-year-old sister and she's hot. Like some random ass anime. So let's just see what this video is about. Of course, guys, like, subscribe, and comment. Shout out to Kumo Bear. Let's check out the video, man.
Was I properly fed? After getting kind of burnt out, 2025 is now over, and man, was I properly fed. After getting kind of burnt out from seasonal anime for a good while, I found this year dropping so many bangers that I not only massively enjoy.
If you got Netflix, you gotta watch that track anime. Shit is fire.
But that I also found a bit different. Because when I look at the anime that stuck out to me the most, there really wasn't a lot of big returning titles. Instead, there were so many brand new series, first seasons of stories that clearly feel like they're meant to run for a long time, stories that were only a season or a few episodes long, or even one-off movies. And what's crazy is how many of these came from young authors and newer mangaka, to the point where some of the same creators showed up multiple times on my list this year. Even from a production standpoint, there were so many shows that really pushed the envelope with more unique animation techniques, visual styles, and creative direction. And all of this is happening while the overall animation quality is just insanely high.
Hold on, I gotta focus. This shit fast. I can't blink. My nigga, excuse me, who animated this shit, God?
Like, the baseline for how good anime looks now is kind of ridiculous, and this year really felt like a continuation of that upward trend we've been seeing for the past few years. It really feels like we're entering into this new era of anime, where anime isn't just this one thing that feels and looks one specific way. Newer stories are taking the spotlight and old ones are ending, and I don't think anything signifies that shift better than the end of My Hero Academia.
Bro, go check that out. Shit was tough.
My Hero ending after 10 years definitely feels weird. This show has basically had a new season to watch every single year, and now it's just gone. It's a story that was so clearly inspired by its predecessors like Naruto, Bleach, or Dragon Ball, which all ended so long ago themselves, and
niggas was watching My Hero in middle school and shit was weird. When niggas still getting body slammed for watching anime. That's when I was watching anime. When I was in middle school, nigga. My Hero. Shout out to My Hero, bro.
now My Hero is done too. And unfortunately, I don't think it ended as well as I hoped it would. Don't get me wrong, it still made the list, meaning I did enjoy it quite a bit. I once again have to sing Bakugo's praises, as I think the way he was written throughout the whole story was perfect. All Might and Deku are also standout characters this season. In particular, I thought everything Deku says and does at the end of the finale was very fitting for his character and tied together the story's themes nicely. It's just a shame that so much of the material from the seasons before this point caused so many problems that were way too big and many for this short season to even begin fixing. Like, All for One genuinely became one of the most dogshit villains I have ever seen and ruined so many aspects of the story. Unfortunately, it seems like Horikoshi ended up having to rush a lot of the story beats and character arcs, which really transformed My Hero into a way worse story than what it was before.
Yeah, it was low-key. It was hard to finish.
But man, I just can't help but care for some of these characters, at least the ones that didn't get completely ruined. I get that a lot of people have fallen off of My Hero by this point, and honestly, yeah, that's fair, but I do think that this season, despite its flaws, does have a lot to like about it. There are even some moments I think are top tier for the series as a whole, and it does help that the music and animation slaps pretty damn hard. It's gonna be a bit weird to not see these huge anime giants airing anymore as time goes on, but let's not get it twisted. Battle shonen stories like these are clearly not going anywhere, as another one is here to take its place. So Gachikuta is one of the newest stories.
Gachikuta.
out of all the very recently adapted Battle Shonen manga, and to me, I also think it's one of the most promising ones with the most potential. It definitely does take inspiration from previous Battle Shonen like My Hero does, but I think it does so in a fairly refreshing way. I mean, it's definitely not revolutionary stuff or anything, but I do think that despite its influences, its own identity and creativity really shines. From the character designs to the world building or the power system, it really has its own unique feel. Instead of being a generic heroes versus villains type stories, there are so many different factions, mysteries, and characters with varying motivations. It really feels like it's all building up to this grand reveal. And I think the way you can tell why Gachi Kuta stands out from other newer Battle Shonen is that it feels like the author had this very specific idea that she then chose to make a story about instead of just wanting to write a story, then coming up with an idea. This can often give a story more of a unique identity. And this checks out after looking at some of her interviews where she said she started wanting to write a story in a world full with trash and spent a lot of time figuring
I didn't realize Shorty looked like that.
out the story based off of that. Also, the show looks really good. This is actually from the same studio that did My Hero Academia, but man, does it look like they spent way more time and effort into the look dev. The backgrounds and compositing are so pretty and well done. I can't believe that a show about literal garbage looks so much better than the show about superheroes when they're made by the same studio. And I think that's another example of just how high the bar keeps getting set for anime these days. It's such a huge market now that what used to be the standard just isn't good enough anymore. I don't think this is the best shonen I've seen or anything, but it does have some really endearing characters, genuinely top tier world building, an intriguing premise, and some captivating mysteries. It's pretty good. Again, I think this show has a ton of potential, so I'm pretty excited for the future seasons to see if it can reach the heights of the other big Battle Shonen. Though I think we're definitely at the point now where Battle Shonen aren't the face of anime anymore. There's just so much more variety in the shows that become popular these days, and the author of the next entry is basically the king when it comes to variety. For the 8th spot on the list, I chose to go for Tatsuki Fujimoto's 8 short stories, because man, are they pretty damn good. I was a big fan of Chainsaw Man Season 1 and Look Back, so this was a project I figured I'd check out, and I can now confidently say that this man knows how to cook.
Bloody hell, I mean that's what I call a burger.
And I think given how many critically acclaimed works he has already made, I'm super excited for any of his future works. You see, a lot of times it feels like mangaka make this one big popular hit, then either never put out anything else ever again, or make something that's extremely similar to their previous work. But this dude just stays in the kitchen, and these short stories show off just how much versatility he has. None of these have the same premise in any way, shape, or form. They are completely different. You can definitely still feel that it's from the same author, partially due to just how strange some of them are, which I think helps make them all feel connected in a sense. And so it's hard to really pick out a favorite due to how different and short they are, but I will say that the third one is genuinely hilarious. When he told the alien to wait, I actually died, man. I would love so much to see a whole gag manga with this dude as the main character. Sasaki Stopped the Bullet was also very enjoyable due to how effectively it was able to convey its message, same with the vampire one. The first one has some banging production value and just uses the short time it has very effectively, and I also think the final one is worth checking out. It's a very wholesome and realistic story about these two sisters. Honestly, that might be my favorite. I think the only thing holding this back from being further up on the list is that some of these stories just weren't that good. The mermaid one, that shit was kind of mid, and the Naruto one really spent so much time to deliver.
I'm gonna be honest, guys, I don't know what this is about.
For a pretty predictable and simple message. I'd say 1 to 4 and 8 are really good, 6 is decent, and 5 and 7 you can probably skip. Again, I think it's so awesome that an author is able to create this many stories with this level of quality, which is exactly what the creator of the next anime has also proven himself capable of. So over the years now, Chinese anime's popularity and quality has grown and grown, and To Be Hero X definitely sets that bar pretty high. Now these are obviously not Japanese, and so they're called donga, meaning they're not technically anime, but it's my video, I don't care. This show comes from the same author as Link Click, another donga, which I hold in a very high esteem, in particular the first.
I'm gonna start watching this though, because I am learning Chinese right now, Mandarin Chinese, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I'm about to check out some donga.
seasons, so seeing him put this out as well is pretty awesome. It's definitely not as good as Link Click, but I will say that I love how ambitious and original it is. Because the thing about Battle Shonen is that, like I talked about before, almost all of them are inspired by each other, and so everything just kind of goes in a circle, which is why they all feel so samey. But To Be Hero X is, again, one of the most ambitious projects I have seen in a long time. From how the power system works to how it chooses to tell its story by having a bunch of different main characters, and even the animation, which switches between 2D and 3D. And the 2D scenes all have different art styles depending on what character it is we're following. And the most impressive and ambitious part by far, X. I think even if you didn't like this show, his episode is worth checking out alone. Because as much as I
yeah, he's Aura. He's like Gojo.
Really enjoyed both the 2D and 3D animation, I didn't really see why they did it that way. Like, I thought it was kind of jarring the way it would switch back and forth for seemingly no reason, and just kind of wish they'd stick with one. But they actually managed to tie that into the story by giving X the ability to switch between the 2D and 3D animation. When he turned that 2D car into a 3D one and proceeded to drive it, I actually lost it, bro.
Okay, wait, that's Aura.
This is actually one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Just perfect. I do think the show is a bit too ambitious at times though. Some parts are needlessly confusing and presented in a very strange way, which really just comes down to the director not being thorough enough and having a bit too much confidence. There are also some arcs and characters that are a bit weaker than the others, and it can get pretty frustrating to watch those parts, but the good arcs are like really good. Ghostblade and Nice's episodes in particular were incredible, and of course X's part was just flawless. It's kind of cool to see the anime industry get some serious competition in this way, as competition usually leads to innovation, and this show certainly does do a ton of innovating. The summer Hikaru died is just an absolute banger. I already made a whole standalone video about this show, so I'm not going to go too in depth, but I will say that it's a story with an amazing premise and some really interesting characters, which the author creates tension and drama between in real and believable ways. It's a bit of a slow burn, with the plot not moving particularly fast, especially because this is only the first 12 episodes of the story, but I really didn't mind, as spending time with these characters was always so fun. And a lot of that is due to the absolutely incredible direction. Like, whoever directed this is an absolute GOAT. That's what I'm talking about! I love how varied and unique the shots are, as it helps tell the story of these two characters through visuals so well. There's so many quiet shots where almost nothing is happening, but you still feel uneasy. Long pauses, awkward silences, characters just standing there, or scenes where they're talking about completely normal things like ice cream, but due to the way it's shot, you can just feel the subtext. And while this is happening, you are just getting hit with the most incredible art that has such a good visual style, which is my personal favorite aspect of the show. Because a lot of anime's art style and overall art direction tend to be fairly similar. They all just go for that anime look. There's this really good anime called Summertime Rendering, which is actually quite similar to Hikaru in the way the setting is basically the same, the premise is very similar, and that show's production quality is also very good. But even still, the two have such different looks. Summertime Rendering is basically the same as your standard anime, but Hikaru really leans fully into its setting and does the most to sell the fact that this is in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. The cyan sky is almost always present as a background of the shots and sets the atmosphere for the story. I wish more anime would spend longer time on its look development to figure out what is this story really about, how does it feel, and how does it look like. That way we would get more varied looking shows, which is exactly what the next anime on the list does. I was not the biggest fan of the first Dandadan season. Overall, I thought
yeah, Dandadan was low-key for me at least. It was kind of hard to get into, and low-key I didn't finish it, I'm not gonna lie, bro.
it was pretty good. I loved the Mob Psycho vibe it was giving off and didn't really have anything bad to say about it, but I definitely didn't love it. Which is until the second season released, or what is basically just the second half of season 1, and it fucking slaps, bro. I think what makes me enjoy this season a lot more is that the story unfolds in a more natural way. For example, in the first arc of season 1, I felt as though the way Okarun got his ball stolen, which led to him and Momo having to go alone into this city, city filled with tweakers because the grandma's powers just so happen to not work there and they have no one else to call, so they have to fight this insane life or death battle, felt a bit forced. Like the story couldn't quite find a natural way for the two of them to go on this journey. But in this season, the predicaments they find themselves in are often due to the choices the characters make. Gigi gets possessed by the evil eye because he didn't want to give up on him. This is what causes the finale of that arc and the whole arc after to happen. Then Okarun fights the evil eye because he is mad at his own weakness and unwillingness to deal with him. To me, this just makes it a lot more engaging to watch. Also, it is just really fun. Like, the action scenes have incredible animation and at times some insane choreography with a bunch of goofy ass characters. There's this huge
Goofy ass characters, bro. It's so hard to take this shit serious. That's the one thing Dan to Dan, bro. It's
mech battle towards the end of the season, and this episode where they fight Beethoven using musical notes and the sound waves of their singing. Like, it is just the most wacky ideas executed in the most fun ways possible. My favorite part of the whole season by far is this exorcism that just goes so fucking hard. And I also have to shout out who is maybe my favorite character in the story. This dude right here. I swear I've met this guy in real life before, at school or something. He is just fucking hilarious, man. He even ends up contributing to the story in a big way, which highlights another thing I like about this show, which is the way every character has their own unique utility in the story, even down to this guy. It's such an important aspect in a group dynamic to make sure everyone feels useful. I'm legitimately so excited for the future seasons of Dandadan now. Like, I'm all in.
You got me.
I know some people don't like Dandadan because it's kind of weird or whatever, but like, I don't know, man. We're watching anime. Shit's already pretty weird. Okay, so now we're moving on to number 4, and I will say that every entry from now on out is just kind of on a different, higher tier than the ones before. These are the shows that are just absolute bangers, no questions asked, and what I like about Takapi's Original Sin is just how short and concise it is. It really feels like a story in its truest form. Every scene in this story exists to build towards its ultimate message. It's all killer, no filler, and never wastes any time. It's kind of like a fable. The message the story tries to tell is incredibly good, and the show perfectly showcased why it was true. There are a lot of like sad, depressing scenes in this show, but I'm not gonna lie, you just gonna have to lock in, Chief. Like, it's not even that sad for real. What's really funny is that people have been calling this trauma slop, which honestly is just hilarious. When I first heard this, I felt like it was mainly something happening between shonen and non-shonen fans. Like, if you enjoy shonen, something like this is trauma slop, but if you like this, battle shonen are shonen slop. And here I am in the middle, enjoying both equally. But recently, I swear, everything is referred to as slop. Normie slop, isekai slop, unk slop. Like, I think slop has just become a way to refer to anything you dislike without having to actually explain what you don't like. But anyway, if you haven't checked out Takapi, what the hell are you doing, man? It looks amazing. The story is
alright, fuck it, I'll check it out.
Basically flawless. I really like how versatile it is by using different story mechanics and points of views, and man, it's just some good ass shit. There is only one singular criticism I have towards this show, and admittedly it's a pretty crucial one, which is that I definitely think Takapi being able to repair the camera with his life force should have been established or hinted towards earlier in the story, considering the whole ending hinges on that being possible. Since that's the only critique I have though, it doesn't really matter. This show is a must watch, especially so because again, it's so short. It's just a bit longer than 2 hours, so it's basically like watching a movie. And speaking of movies, we gotta talk about one of the most insane anime movies I have ever seen. Over the years, anime movies have been becoming more and more of a thing, and I don't really like that. I don't think we need to turn everything into a movie just for the sake of it. There are some story arcs that just don't work as movies because they were made to be consumed on a chapter-to-chapter basis, and end up with this really weird pacing. There are times it works though, like the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, as it's only one short standalone story about this character. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to see the Infinity Castle movie. That shit looks fire as fuck, I'm not gonna lie, but I did.
Nigga, you didn't see that yet? My brother.
Get to see this absolute banger.
That's why he's the GOAT! The
And it was the perfect arc to pick for a movie because it's basically a standalone story. Since this
I didn't see it yet, so I didn't see Chainsaw Man movie yet, so
movie takes place right after season 1, I was expecting it to start with a bunch of setup and exposition about the future of the series and the gun devil and the butt fisting devil or some shit, but man, was I wrong. This shit wastes absolutely no time and just gets going right away with the movie's incredible story. Seeing the contrast between Denji's time spent with Makima versus Rese and how well he gets along with Rese is so cool. The fact that Denji finally finds someone he experiences true love with without getting taken advantage of is super interesting and is what makes the twist so damn effective. And it does help that this movie looks fucking amazing. I think season 1 of Chainsaw Man looked incredibly good and I think the art style chosen worked really well, but I do prefer this one. I don't know, I just think having more color is more enjoyable for me as it gives us shots like these. The color design in this movie is just so damn nice to look at, bro. I particularly like this shot right here where the blood streaks having ran down the wall establishes the gravity clearly, but has the man standing upright creating a vertical counterforce visually resisting that down, and genuinely insane and just as crazy as you'd expect the story called Chainsaw Man to be. The music is also so fucking good throughout the whole movie, and I especially love the one song that plays as they're fighting. Also, Denji riding a shark is sincerely the coolest thing I have ever seen. There's a reason solo leveling isn't anywhere near my list, which is because no one in that show has any aura, I'ma say it. No performative edgy ass emo shit anyone does in that show comes close to seeing this chainsaw dude.
I can't let now. Come on, bro. You can't say that. Like, I get it. He's probably trying to rage bait, but like, come on now. Don't disrespect Soul Living like that ever again, alright? My nigga.
Surf on a shark through skyscraper and cause an effect. Whereas with these over animated scenes, the storyboards and direction can sometimes be so still that focuses more on the choreography because it keeps the space clear and stable, which lets me easily track bodies, timing, and cause and effect. Whereas with these over animated scenes, the storyboards and direction can sometimes be so and even over the movies. Months before, they didn't
this anime, bro. This movie was good.
Exceed all my expectations in every way.
I was like, man, this is like kind of good. I ain't even gonna lie.
It showcased some incredible writing, boundary pushing, and mind-blowing use of animation, and it even managed to resonate with me on a personal level, which again is not something I expected, especially so because I'm typically not that big of a fan of sports anime. I actually really enjoyed the idea of a sports anime. I think that sounds awesome on paper. It's just that I've never watched one that I genuinely love. But the thing about this movie is that it's not really a typical sports anime. Like, you know how in something like, let's say, Haikyuu, they'll spend like an insane amount of time explaining stuff like volleyball rules and techniques? Sometimes it feels less like you're watching a character in a story and more like you're in a sports lecture. This movie, on the other hand, is a lot more focused on the competitive and mental aspects than the emotional meaning running has for them, rather than the technical details of the sport itself. Which is ironic considering how much time of the movie is actually spent running. Almost every scene in this movie has a character run, discuss running, or something related to it. And I think that shows just how perfectly chosen and tied running is to the story. Every character has a completely different mental struggle, but they all get explored via running. And all the characters' journey just works so well. The main character Togashi was definitely my favorite. His whole character arc was so relatable and real. To see him grapple with the fact that he just isn't good enough was so intriguing. He was supposed to be the best, but has to give up. Then he gives it his all again, just to once again give up, which gives us the incredible rain scene. There are so many absolute peak scenes in this movie, like this one, Togashi traumatizing these kids, the old man escaping reality, the final scene. And all of these really come together well with the incredible direction and production. The scenes are just shot so well, and the music adds to the vibe so perfectly. The artist behind the score is the same person who worked on Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1's soundtrack, and I swear this guy puts crack inside the MP3 files, man.
He goated for it though.
I don't like seeing it in anime because I can almost always tell. This can be a very useful tool for a number of reasons, like being able to capture someone's unique performance, but I typically don't like seeing it in anime because I can almost always tell when something has been rotoscoped, as it stands out so much. It's kind of like when they use 3D animation, you can just tell. And this movie uses rotoscoping for like basically every single frame. Okay, not literally every frame, but there is a lot. However,
okay, I was wondering, I was like, what type of animation is this? 'Cause why does shit look kind of creepy and real? But I guess it's rotoscoping.
I didn't have an issue with that at all. In fact, I think that only enhanced the viewing experience. You see, the reason why rotoscoping feels uncanny a lot of the time is because it only happens occasionally. You'll have spent 20 minutes watching these characters that have been traditionally animated, maybe with some pretty minimal animation as well, and then boom, some dude starts moving like he's an actual human who's been trapped in the screen. But this movie, again, almost always has rotoscoping, meaning there is nothing for it to clash against. There's no sudden jump from normal animation to rotoscoping, this is just how the movie looks and moves. Like for example, 3D looks a bit wonky when it's next to 2D, but you're not gonna watch a Pixar film and be like, ew, why is it 3D? It looks weird. The slightly off, hyper-real movement becomes the visual language of the film rather than a distraction from it. And that is so perfectly fitting for an anime about sports and running, two things that exist in real life. It makes the movie and character feel so much more real, because one thing that's completely different
the GOAT Usain Bolt, man,
between watching an actual sport compared to a sports anime is that you kind of miss a lot of the small moments. A lot of sports anime, even the really good ones, end up feeling a bit slideshow adjacent. You get strong key poses, speed lines, impact frames, which look great, but the in-between movement often gets smoothed over or skipped, and of crutch, they fully lean into it. There is even a shot in the movie that is almost 4 minutes long, all in one take, fully rotoscoped, comprised of 10,000 frames. Like, do you know how insane that is? I don't really have any criticism of this movie per se, but I will say that its use of side characters are a bit strange. Like, there are some characters that are very heavily focused on in the middle portion of the movie, but they don't show up at all in the last third. And the characters we actually got to focus on in the ending are only focused on in the ending. The old man was not in the movie until we got to
no, literally, like, this old nigga should not be running this fast.
The end. I think it would have been nice for these two to have stuck around a bit and for these two to have been more involved in the middle half of the movie in some way. If I remember correctly, these guys have been competing side by side for
Did any of them niggas break 10? Like sub 10? Like, these niggas low-key slow, bro.
a long time, so I think showing a race between those two in the middle would have been really impactful and would have made Saitsu's mindset and ultimate decision a lot more meaningful. There's also this dude who is like one of the main characters in the final race, and like I could not tell you a single thing about him. I don't even know why he exists. And apparently the movie had to cut or change a lot of scenes from the manga, which is probably why I have this issue. They had to cut this hugely important scene involving Nagami, which would have closed off his character arc, which we don't get to see. It's kind of sad to know that this isn't the complete version of the story, but honestly it really doesn't matter because it's directed so well that you can't tell there are scenes missing. Everything flows together so nice. There might be some holes to poke in this movie, but honestly, it's so far up my alley that I really do not give a fuck. I mean, it certainly stands on its own either way. It's a truly incredible story, but even beyond that, it's something.
That shot when they were running at the end and they went back to kids. It was beautiful. Oh shit.
On a personal, because I am Togashi.
Stop the cap.
You are not him. You are not him.
You're not that guy, John. Trust me.
Okay, not exactly, but growing up, I was a really fast runner. Everyone in my class knew me for how fast I was at running, and would always be surprised at whenever they saw just how fast I ran.
That being running off of 3 AAA batteries, so.
But I wasn't the fastest. I was the second fastest. There was another kid in my class who was just a little bit faster than me, enough to where you could tell there was a difference. And that kind of messed with me as a kid, because there was nothing I could do about it. Even if I gave it my absolute best, it wasn't enough. We could race again, but I wouldn't be able to take with me anything I learned from our previous race, because the only thing I learned from it was that he was faster than me. That was just my reality. And so seeing Togashi's journey and how the movie ultimately...
Nigga, you was not like that, boy. Now, if he would have been to like a, I don't know, like a championship level, like nigga trained and everything, it was still slower. That's different, but bro, you would have got some like grown man muscle, trained, fast reflexes, sled pulls, dragging the toe, top end speed, speed endurance. If the nigga was still faster than you then, well, yeah, okay, maybe you could be like this nigga crying and traumatizing kids at the playground.
ends resonated even harder.
I can't relate though, cause I'm the type of nigga I never got beat. I was a fast nigga in school. You feel me?
Harder for me to go to an anime. And when
I'm just needling you.
yeah, I'm just now. I know about how.
What's this?
Now, I know about half of Orb's episodes came out in 2024, but the other half came out this year, and I didn't do a list video like this last year, so I gotta give it the respect it deserves.
Nah, nigga, nah, bro. I'm good off that. Okay, I'm not.
Also, I hope you didn't forget, it's my video, I don't care. That's right.
Exactly.
I make the rules around here. I'm not your average anime channel that does everything by the books, which is of course why Orb will be sharing joint first place with Garci's Wing from 1996. Now, as much as Orb is #1 on the list, this show is definitely just quality slop, meaning the only reason I like it is because it's good, so keep that in mind. But man, is it like really good. And once again, after having seen both of these, I can put into and write astronomy and religion.
I ain't with the shits, bro. I'm not fucking with it. But shout out to Kumo though, like, subscribe, and comment. Get up on your anime, my nigga. Stop touching grass. Get up on the anime.